your host, Mimosa,
and co-host Kareem.
Welcome to Sometimes We're Bougie and Sometimes We Hood, to healing, navigating grief. It's a podcast dedicated to exploring the complex emotions of loss, the road to healing, and the strength found in remembrance. Hey, everybody, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Yes, come in, settle down. It is Auntie Mimosa.
Hey, it's Cousin Kareem. How y'all doing?
And this is Sometimes We Bougie.
And sometimes we hood.
Yes. So now listen, it was good. TikTok fam, Facebook fam, Instagram, YouTube, everybody. Now listen, this episode today is for the graduates, right? For the students, whether you're what is it, kindergarten to elementary to middle to high to college, whatever, right? Whatever the graduation is, college on, masters, whatever, whoever is graduating this May and June, right? So, like the ones that are walking across the stage, smiling for pictures, but feeling something in their chest they just quite can't explain what it is, right?
Okay.
Because everybody is telling you, oh, you should be happy, you graduated, you crossed a milestone, this is your moment, you did it, right? Yay. And you know what I'm saying, right? But what people are not talking about is like, what are you losing? Right. And of course, Auntie Mimosa brings you the tough subjects, the stuff that people are not talking about. No one talks about when you graduate, what are you losing? What are you leaving behind? Right. So, so here at Sometimes we just sometimes we hood. We just don't celebrate the moment. We tell the whole truth about it, right? And the truth is graduating or graduation can feel like joy and grief at the same time. Now, somebody's like, how is that possible? How you feel joy and grief at the same time, right? Let's talk about it, right? Think about it. Now, you're a student, you're graduating, you're supposed to feel great, right? But at the same token, you're probably thinking about those individuals that are not there, those family members, those friends. Oh, my light just went out. That's not good. But anyway, those family members, those friends that are not there anymore, right? Probably thinking about them. And let's call it what it really is, right? It's transition grief. And this isn't about loss, right? Physical loss. It's about ending, right? Let me see if I can fix these chords while we're talking here. It's about, it's about transition. You're leaving people who became your everyday life, right? Your space that you hold memories with. Oh, come on, phone. Do act like you got some sense. Where you at? Okay, there we go. People, a routine, right? That gave you structure, going to class every day, following the school bell, switching classes, whatever, right? Um, that gave you a routine, a daily routine, right? If you were, oh, there we go. If you were an athlete, you had basketball practice, football practice, soccer practice, uh, um, volleyball practice. If you were in the band, you had band practice, right? And it's a version of yourself that existed in that season, right?
Okay.
That's what's ending. And we're not going to minimize that. And I say don't minimize that, right? Refrain from minimizing that, because the grief doesn't only show up when somebody physically transitions, right, or becomes unalive. Grief shows up anytime something meaningful ends, right?
Mm.
Remember, we talk about that. Like in sometimes we bougie, sometimes we hood. We address grief in every, and I say this all the time, every aspect of life we address grief. In relationships, losing employment, uh, losing something valuable, not just the physical, oh, this light, not just the physical loss, but the ending of something meaningful and special, right?
Yeah.
And because grief doesn't only show up, like I said, it shows up in at the unopportune times, right? We talked about how it comes when it feels like it, goes when it feels like it, right?
Yep.
Let's see. You're gonna stay with me. It's like hopefully it'll stay. I'm gonna see what happens. Maybe it'll stay with me, maybe it won't. I don't know. But yeah. And I'm like, are you plugged? Yeah, I'm plugged in. Okay, some technical difficulties, but it's all right. Podcasts have that stuff happen from time to time. So, and if you've been like brushing it off, saying I'm good, or I'm just ready for what's next, I'm ready for the next level, right? You might be skipping over something your mind hasn't caught up with yet.
Mm.
And when grief gets ignored, and that's what, okay, when grief gets ignored, it doesn't just disappear, it shows up differently.
Yeah.
So,
Life. Yeah.
right. So, cousin Kareem, you have a high school graduate, right?
Yes, I do. Man, it's draining me right now thinking about that.
Right. So, how is our girl? How is she feeling about that? About graduating from high school? Like, how is she feeling? What's her thoughts? What is she? I know I'm sure, is she excited? And let you know, our girl is she's a different teenager, right?
Yeah.
So is she excited? Is she like, oh, I'm not gonna see my friends again? Like, what is she feeling?
Yeah,
Or
it's
do
not
you
even that
know what
part.
she's feeling?
Yeah, I don't think it's the seeing the friends part.
Mm-hmm.
I realized that I might have just giving her the idea that life after high school isn't going to be the same, because it's like you were in a corridor, high school down to from kindergarten up to high school, and you get in college, the corridor is just going to open up, and you travel in this corridor with all these people, but now all your future experiences are going to be based on you. They're not going to be catered to you like they were from kindergarten to high school, where you had to stay with these certain people, and you just associated with these certain people because they were in the same corridor you are. But once you get to college, it's open, and it's just, you might link back up with those people. And I told her that because I was dealing with letting go of people
Okay.
because of association. And there was one person that I was holding on to, and it dawned on me that, why am I holding on to them? Like, it doesn't make any sense for me to hold on to this person.
Right.
And so I conveyed to her that you're trying to hold on to, you might be on childhood friendships, but these people might have grown to a different level. So there's no point because you guys have grown apart. And you can see it growing apart because you guys don't share anything really in common except the basic good to do things. Now, of course, you can make a living off of that. You can make a, a whole friendship off of just that. But the reality is, if you guys aren't chasing similar things, then what is there to really hold on to?
Okay. So you're okay. Me and this light today. So so right. So you're right, and that's the thing. Like when there are, I want to say, like you said, when you graduating from high school, right? You have those friends that you have been through. I want to say, some people have that friend they have been friends with since they were babies or elementary school. And or some have friends they've been friends high school through college and adult life. Um and you depending on and there's a lot of variables and factors, like just say where, like who you were then and where who you're becoming are, um sometimes attitude shifts, right? Sometimes people do pull away from each other, feeling off, not knowing why. Then that's not random at all. You know what I'm saying? It's like that unprocessed transition, right? So let's dive a little deeper into that. So graduation is not, like I said, just not about leaving a place. It's about losing an identity container, right?
Yeah.
Who were you in that environment? Were you the one everybody came to for advice? Were you the funny one, the quiet one, the leader, the one still trying to figure it out? You know what I'm saying? Like think about, you hear about like what is it, the in your yearbooks, and they had the categories, right? In the yearbooks, the person that's voted most likely to succeed, the most unique one, or the fun, like you said, the funny one, the who else? Oh my gosh, I can't
The
think.
most athletic, the most
Right, right,
yeah.
most athletic, and so these are categories that teenagers became identified with. What's going on, the pathetic gypsy? Hey, baby. Mwah, mwah. These are, and if we think about it back in our high, when we were in high school many moons ago, many, many
Many,
moons
many,
ago,
many,
right?
many.
Many,
Yeah.
many moons ago. Like, think about, like, I think I think I was voted like most unique. Um, and But when you think about like that high school football star, and you hear, or you might see what is like the stories where the high school football star, he just can't get out of that, or the high school basketball star, they just can't let go of that
Phase.
identity. Right. And, but here's the reality of it, like when the environment changes, the version of you, right, doesn't automatically transfer the same way. And that can feel unsettling, right? So like here's a question. Like I want those that are listening, I want you to sit with this question or watching or whenever, okay? Who was I in that season? And what parts of me do I want to carry forward? Think about that. And that's not even just for high school graduates either, or anybody just graduate, not just, I'm saying anybody who's graduating or anybody who's moving to the next phase of life or that next season in their life, right? Thank you, dear. Thank you. Thank you, empathetic gypsy. Like, who was I in this season, and what parts of me do I want to carry forward?
Mm.
That's a good question to ask yourself. Like, not everything needs to come with you when you move forward, right? So like those kids, what is it like? How can I know, like, when I went off to college, right? My freshman year of college, like, I took everything with me. It was no need for me to take every single thing with me. But my thought process was I wasn't coming back home, not thinking about the weekends, the spring breaks, the holiday breaks. You know what I'm saying? Not thinking about that stuff, and then having to pack all these clothes to take back home with me because nothing was home because I had it all in the dorm, right?
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Not everything needs to go with you. Some stuff should be left behind, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I had an epiphany when I was in college. It was like my first semester. It was like, what am I going to bring with me, all this kind of stuff. And then as I start, because what I realized was at one point before Thanksgiving break, it was around like Halloween. I realized that a lot of the kids at the school were dressing. They weren't even showering. They were just going to school. They were just wearing whatever the most comfortable clothes, like pajamas, and showing up to class. And I'm like, and then I realized that there's no adults on the whole college campus. And I'm like,
y'all were the adults on the college campus.
Yeah. And it was crazy. And then I started, after taking that in, I started realizing that from the age of 18 to 24, because, graduate students, there are really no adults around. You're just doing everything yourself. And it's an open experience to see how well you learn about living before you're 18. There were some people in college who were like, I have no idea. I need to wash my sheets. It's just like, so go to the laundromat. They're like, what's a laundromat? And it's like, what? It's like, you know what I mean? It's just like, I remember having to show these two girls and this guy how to wash their clothes. They had literally never washed their clothes, and they had went 2 months without washing their clothes.
So you're talking about environmental factors, like they're how they were raised definitely contribute to how you maneuver on a college campus, and whether or not you were
flexible enough to deal with it.
So Empathetic Gypsy says she was a roughneck and a troublemaker. That's funny.
Yeah.
But I know, like, it all depends on how your parents prepared you for that, because when you enter, for the freshmen that are going into college for the first time, you are the adult on campus.
Yeah,
so
you can't rely on nobody.
You are not
relying on somebody.
Exactly. So there's some things that you never learned, like how to wash clothes, how to clean, how to be orderly or organized. Well,
they just learn how to school. They just learn how to do school. And they didn't realize that there was anything outside. If you had somebody who's an academic person, they generally don't know the outside, the wherewithals, the fit-ins to do everything that they need to do. Go shopping, buy clothes, do all of this kind of stuff, do their hair. It's just like, and you sit back and you notice that. And for me, it was like, okay, I feel like I'm accomplished because I know how to handle myself in a situation. But then one situation I didn't know how to handle.
Welcome in.
Was dealing with buying stuff as much as I thought, budgeting.
Right.
Budget. I had a credit card. I had a girlfriend. I lived off my girlfriend. You know what I mean? And it was crazy. Like, for like little things like buying toothpaste, buying cereal.
Right.
It was just like my sophomore year was even more crazy because I was living with seniors. I was rooming with two seniors.
Okay.
And my roommate dropped out of school
Mm.
like early, like 1 month in. He's just like, I'm not doing this no more. You know, he's
Right.
like, I'm not doing this. Me and him chose to live together, and I'm not doing this anymore. I got better things to do with my time than to subject myself to an education where I can go work.
Mhm.
So he dropped out. So I'm in a room by myself, and by the second half of the year, I had a whole studio to myself, and it was crazy. And I was living it because I already paid for mine. They paid for theirs, and they just left it open. They didn't think about adding more in my room.
Right.
So I basically had a studio for myself.
Mm-hmm.
But it was crazy because there was so much that living with other people you learn.
Right.
And it wasn't I didn't learn, but it was more so that I was learning to be more adaptive to living situations.
Right.
And I realized that college wasn't for me. And it was just at that point. And so I left after my sophomore year. But it was crazy to me because it was all about the living situation. It had nothing to really do with the education. It was the living situation and getting through the daily, the daily routine
of being right. So okay. So just to kind of step back for a second, welcome in to anybody who's joining. Sometimes we bougie, sometimes we hood. Right now, of course, I'm Auntie Mimosa, and we're talking about grief when it comes to graduating, like the seniors, all like between May and June. So, there's graduations going on. There's a shift in identity because, depending on who you were at that point in that season, depending on what level you're graduating from, it's now shifting and changing, and you don't take everybody with you. Like, you don't take everyone and everything with you when you're stepping up to the next level. So, at this juncture, and then cousin Kareem was sharing his experience about being on the college campus and people not, at that time thinking 18 to 24, probably 25, 26. There are no adults on the college campus. They're the adults, the 18 to the 24, 25, 26. They're the adults. Okay, at this time, you're not looking at instructors because they teach and they go home to their families at the end of the day. And I almost think it's called pre-adult or the young adult, trying to navigate and figure out life on that college campus. But what I want to do next is like a guided reflection, right? So at this juncture, I just don't want everybody just to be listening, right? Like participate, think within yourself, with yourself, right? So if you're driving, save this for later. But what I would like for you to do is I want you to slow down for just a moment, right? For a second. And let's name what you're actually losing. What you're actually losing upon graduation. So, and we're gonna go category by category. Cousin Kareem, think about this too. And on behalf of your daughter, who, the people, that's number one. Who matter to you that you won't see the same way again? Think about that. Are there some instructors, right? Right? Good. Congratulations. Are there some instructors you won't see the same way again? Are there is there not a segment, like a group of girls, because the cliques are formed in high schools, right? So you might have your science clique, you might have the nerd group, and you may have the populars, you have the academic
athletes,
then you have your athletes and the band. Everybody has their own little clique or what have you. But out of those, when you think about the people that you interacted with for the past 4 years, 5 years, however many years you were in school, like, who mattered to you that you won't see the same way again? Something to think about. Write it down, right? Places, right? Classrooms, hallways, that one spot you always sat in at the lunch table, right? Or in the library. You don't, that's that structure or routine that's going to be broken up, right? Empathetic Gypsy on TikTok, she said she missed Mr. Washington. He was in her school. Oh, he was my in school suspension teacher. Oh, girl, you remember her? He remembers her in school suspension teacher. Now you know you were. She was terrible. That's what she remembers. Oh my goodness, that is funny. Uh, 3 routines, the schedule that structured your life, right? Even, and I just don't want to talk about high schools. I want to talk about those that are in college as well. When you graduated, even if you are working on a master's or completed a master's degree or a doctoral, you know what I'm saying? And you're graduating, there was a schedule, there was a structure in your life that you put together, especially if you were working, if you were a working parent. Like, I also returned, I went back to school. So, and of course, I work a full-time job, I work a part-time job, I'm in a relationship. So now I have to schedule all of it, right? I have to schedule all of my time to make sure everything is working right. So, and then once I graduate, guess what gets freed up? Because I'm not in school anymore, so my time will open up, right? Once I graduate. So that's
At
something
least
to
you
think
think so.
about. That routine, right? That routine is going to change for you. And then number 4, the version of you. Like, who were you there? Like, that might shift moving forward. You know what I'm saying? So, like, take a moment to think about that. So I just, like, okay, so, oh, I'm tongue tied here for a moment. I went back to school. I did like an introductory course. Like, they all, every time you go back to school or like higher education, masters or your doctorate, you take like an introductory class, especially if you haven't been to school online for a moment. They want to make sure you get used to everything, right? Well, me being who I am, what happened? We had groups. I became the leader of my group online, right? That was that, and that's who I was for that moment, for those 6 weeks while I was in school. Now that that session is over, that class is over, it's like, okay, am I going to see those same classmates again online? Maybe, maybe not. Am I going to take the same role as, again? Maybe, maybe not. But at this moment, like, take a breath, because this part right here, like, this is where the truth lies in, with the moving on, with the shifting to the next level, right? And that's something, cousin Kareem, you can ask your daughter. Like, ask your daughter these 4 questions. Like, who mattered to her and that she won't see the same way again? Like, places, classroom, hallways, that spot in the lunchroom, library, whatever, that she is going to miss, so that she might be like, oh, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, ask her how she's going to feel about that routine of being in a super structured environment and going to an environment where she makes her own schedule. And, like, what's the version of her? Like, who was she in school? Who was she there that she might change to a different person going forward? Like, ask her those questions. I think those are important questions to ask her to get her prepared for the next level as far as doing that transition. Like I said, that's transitional grief, right? And the next thing we're going to talk about is regulate before you run. right? Because a lot of
Yeah.
us are runners. And I mean, when I say runners, like we don't face grief. We don't face um we don't face problem solving, or we don't face it really good. We'll take off in another direction. So yes, we are discussing the grief of graduating and shifting identities. Okay. Now, if that stirs something up, good, right? And we're not about to leave you unregulated here. We're not going to do the dysregulated. We got to reel this in, and let's, right, fight or flight, exactly, and let's reset. So, you can take it a breath for 4, hold it, exhale slowly, do it again, and your emotions are not a problem to fix, right? They're the information to process this, right? And you're allowed to feel. I tell people this all the time. You have a right to feel the way you feel. You are allowed to feel proud. You're allowed to feel sad. You are allowed to be excited. You are allowed to be uncertain. And all at the same time. There's no, oh, I'm gonna be sad, I'm be proud. It's right. Energy and motion equals emotions. Exactly. It's all, you have the right to feel all of these at the same time. You could be happy and like I said, grieve at the same time. That doesn't make you confused. It doesn't make you unaware of yourself. If anything, it makes you aware, because you have these feelings, you have these emotions, you can recognize what they are and address them, right? Right.
Sure.
And then you can create your own closure. And this is what nobody teaches, right? This is what nobody teaches you. Closure just doesn't happen. You have to create it. I'm going to say that again. And you get that, right? People, I want closure. Well, how do you get it? Closure just doesn't happen. You create it. You have to create it, right? So let's see. Here's an assignment. And this is not a suggestion. This is an assignment. So when Auntie Mimosa says she's giving you an assignment, that's what she's doing. Say what you've been holding back. Right? Because a lot of times you don't get an opportunity to say to people what you want to say to them. Say what's been holding you back. Send them a message. If it's somebody you don't like, send it. Tell them, I don't like you. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? If anything, probably don't care, but this is to get things off of your chest, right? If there's somebody that was flattering to you that you looked up to, let them know, right? Let them know. Write a letter, even if you don't even send it, even if you don't put it in the mail. Write a letter.
Yeah,
Take intentional
your
pictures.
thoughts. Express your thoughts towards that person in the letter.
Yes. And take intentional pictures, not just pose ones, but meaningful ones, right? Because if you don't close the chapter, your mind will keep reopening it. You'll keep revisiting it. And then you're going to go through the I should have said, I could have said, I would have said, I was supposed to say, I didn't say, right? And you don't want to get yourself stuck in that loop.
Yeah.
Right? And you really don't need to be stuck in that loop all, consistently over and over and over again, right? With the woulda, coulda, shouldas, I should have said. And I mean, I think about that, like sometimes you might play conversations over in your head or interaction that you may have with somebody, and you be like, oh, I should have said this, or I should have said that. No. If you need to say it, then close the door and keep it moving. The door of emotions and keep it moving, right? Right. So,
As you get older, that just goes away anyway. So
right.
you just tend
Exactly.
to
Exactly. Right. So, and then let's talk about relationships, right? High school relationships, or just the relationships in general, whether it's high school, college, middle school, elementary school, whatever they are, right? Let's talk about it. Some relationships will change, right? Take 68 seconds before acting. Sometimes it's not worth it to respond. You're right, empathetic. You're so right. So let's talk about these relationships, right? Because relationships will change. They do change, right?
yeah.
Because nobody, and it's not that anybody did anything wrong, it's because life is moving, right? The proximity is leaving, effort has replaced it. There's, and here's the truth, and this is with any, and I say this like when it comes to religion, just here's with anything where you move from, whether it's going to school, whether it's moving on from a job, relocating to another state, moving from it doesn't matter, right? Here's the truth that most people won't say. Everybody is not coming with you into your next season. Everybody's not coming with you. And that doesn't erase what you had with them. It just means the moment served its purpose, right? Honor it. Honor it. Honor it without forcing it to stay the same. And what about loyalty? Well, do you want to remain or stay in a relationship because of loyalty and there's nothing there? What happens with that? Where do you go with that? Where do you go with that? Cousin Green, what do you think about that? Because think about how many times your relationships change with when you shift jobs, right? People, you have a bond, right? And then everybody's like, oh, stay in touch, stay in touch. You might stay in touch about a month or two, maybe three. I'm gonna say 3 months, 6 months tops, and then you kind of fade off because what takes place? Life takes over, right? And you look up, 2 years have gone by, 3 years have gone by, and you have not reached out to those individuals. 6 years have gone by, 7, 8, 9, 10 years have gone by, and you have not reached out to those individuals.
Yeah.
Right?
It's just it's like it's amazing because you have some friends that you'll be able to distance kind of like call once a month, call once every 3 months, and everything will come back. And it'll just feel like you guys have been talking like every day.
Mm-hmm.
And then some people, it's just like a struggle to even have those 2-3 month separation conversations. And you're like, what are we talking about? Are we still talking about the old stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are we even still talking about stuff when we were teenagers? Like what's the point? Like, are you still trying to figure stuff out? Like, it's like, it makes you wonder. It's just you sit back and you're like, what are we talking about? Like, are we talking about? Like our future plans? Like, why are we not talking about our future plans? Especially if you got little people who are now, you know what I mean? It's different when you're a little person and then they're little. But then when those little people transition into their teenage years, that's different. I believe that there's 3 things in a child's life that they change. We as parents don't adapt. or we
Mm-hmm.
don't look at those situations differently. But children
Right.
have to look at from pre-adolescent, infant ages up to the teenage,
Mm-hmm.
pre-adult,
Right.
and at the adult years. Their
Mm-hmm.
brains change 3 different times. How they view
Right.
you, how they view other adults, and how they view other people. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you look at your child in that way, this is how I did it. I look at them and where they were in those years.
Mm-hmm.
And then critique the way I approach them. It
Okay.
makes a difference in your life because I can't yell at you about what you're doing. If you're doing something wrong when you're an infant ages before they're 12, because
Mm-hmm.
you have no idea what it takes to live. Versus yelling at a child about why are you doing this and why are you doing that. You need to improve on this because in your later years, adult years, you're going to experience these things. And that's
Right.
to teenagers versus
Okay.
talking to an adult child who's 21.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about, what are you doing? Like, why are you not getting this together? But you can't
Right.
really talk to an adult
Right.
like that. Because if you didn't do the pre-steps to letting them know, we're going to talk about this and you can
Mm-hmm.
talk about this with me, then when they become
Right.
adults, they don't know that you're open to be able to be talked to about it.
Right. Right.
And that's a situation that I see with a lot of adults that I talk to who have now adult children. It's like, did you talk to them about that before? They're like, what do you mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
did you talk to them about relationships? Did you
Right.
talk to them about getting their own place? It's like
Grown up.
No.
Like we have not actually grown up, but
grown-up
as I
conversations.
always say, right. As I always say, you know, two parents, you're raising your children how at the same time you're raising somebody's husband or wife. And I've mentioned that before. And when we had podcast, you're raising somebody's husband or wife. So you have to raise your children with the perception of becoming productive citizens and being somebody's husband or wife one day. Okay, but that's another story. Empathetic Gypsy, you want to come on in here and give us a comment? If you like, let's see if I can get her in here, talk about this transitional grief, and get her comments on what we were talking about. Hey, hon, can you hear me? Oh, hang on. I gotta switch something. All right, can you hear me? Oh, well, I can't hear her. Wait a minute. All right, let's see. Can you hear me now? Or can we hear you? Say something. I can't hear you. Oh, okay. Say something now.
Hello.
There we go. All right. So, welcome in. Welcome to Sometimes We Bougie, Sometimes We Hood. So, well, first of all, how have you been, my dear?
I have been well, love. I would turn on my camera, but I'm currently in the hospital right now.
Oh my, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry to hear that.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely sorry to hear that.
Yeah. I'm good. It's dealing with my son, so I'm waiting for the doctor to come back in. But I was listening in on the conversations.
Mm-hmm. But that's fine. Look, you only, it's just TikToks. But as far as the rest of it goes, they can just hear you. So tell us tell me your thoughts. Tell me your thoughts about this conversation we had today, as far as graduating and students moving on and experiencing transitional grief. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so I guess I have a different take because when it came down to school, I was a troublemaker. Like, I went through different phases where I was the smart kid in the class. I was a military brat, so I traveled around a lot. So the friendships that I had when I was a kid, it varied because I was in Michigan, I was in Iowa, I was in Florida, I was in California, I was in a lot of different places. So I constantly had to leave friends that I got bonds with, where I got used to just not bonding with anybody. So I have a different aspect on it. Okay. So my grief is more on from school, as in leaving friends that I was once close with.
Okay.
Yeah. When it comes down to my daughter, I had to explain to her the whole lifestyle about the same friends she had in elementary are not the same friends she had in middle school. The same friends she had in middle school, she's gonna lose them. When she got to college, she lost some more friends. I'm like, baby girl, when you get older, you're gonna lose more.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just life. Everybody has a contract. We all have contracts. And they might be here for a season, they might be here for 2, they might be here for a lifetime, but as long as we learn whatever lesson that we're supposed to learn from it, that's the point.
Oh, and I like that. You said we all have contracts. I like that.
Yeah.
Yes, contracts.
Yeah, we all have everybody, we were all given contracts with different people to do different things in somebody's life. Just make sure you show up your authentic self, honestly, for them,
right?
And then that way, when you walk away, if you have to leave on bad terms, or leave on good terms, once you walk away from the situation, you know for a fact you gave all of you honestly, and that way you can just wipe your hands clean from it.
Okay.
Give love.
Yes.
That's it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes, no, and the advice the advice that you're giving your babies about. Their friendships are not going to be the same. People are not always going to be the same when you move from one level to the next, whether it's graduating from kindergarten to elementary, from elementary to middle, from middle to high, from high to college. And then if you decide to go even further and get your master's and doctoral, those same people, they're not going to be with you. Because I can't even remember, like, I don't even think I remember anybody from elementary school.
I'm trying to tell you, I remember my teachers because I got in trouble. Mr. Washington, that was my dog. That was end school suspension. Miss Shirts, it was because she was my Japanese teacher and she lied on me.
Oh,
that's the only reason.
You remember teachers? That is funny. Oh goodness, I think I remember when it comes to teachers in elementary school. Well, I went to the same school for about 8 years because I went to a Catholic school. So I remember Miss Feely. I think she was 3rd grade. I remember Miss Edwards. She was a gospel choir. She was, I want to say, 5th or 6th grade teacher, but she was also the gospel choir instructor. I remember Miss Wright because she was Jamaican, and she was like the first woman like I really encountered, or first person I really truly encountered with an accent from the island. Right. Yeah. And then there was Miss Stills. She was my 8th grade teacher, her and Miss Green, and it was like they were like good cop, bad cop, because Miss Stills was me and Miss Green was a sweetheart. So it was like the good cop, bad cop with the teachers. High school, it's a few teachers I remember from high school. College, one, but yeah, that really made an impression. But thank you for that. I'm gonna drop you back down. We're gonna get ready to close out here. All right, I appreciate you coming in. Yes.
All right. Bye. No problem.
All right, take care.
All right, so that was from TikTok. I like when guests come on from TikTok and you get to hear their experiences. So as we get ready to close out, Cousin Kareem, what words of wisdom do you have for individuals that are graduating at this time? Like, if your daughter was standing in front of her, what would you say to her about this transitional grief and moving to the next level, the next stage of her life?
Actually, I had a conversation. I was like, you need to not be concerned or not concern yourself as much with who you're going to leave behind, because you're probably going to leave behind a lot more people than you think. I live on an island. Most of y'all know I live on Oahu in Hawaii. It's the islands of Hawaii. So with the transition of people going to the mainland, it's to go to college. There's thousands of colleges. And if you look at where you're from, now your child is going to go to one of these thousands of colleges or universities. problematic to tell your kids don't worry about it. It's like
Mhm.
you're going to have to be concerned because your child is going to be out there without you if they're going out of state college. Even if they're going
Mhm.
to in-state college, you're going to be
Mhm.
meeting people from different backgrounds. And
Right.
because it's going to seem like the world is opening to them in such a different way. And so I just basically said my daughter's an introvert, and I realized this. Introverts are going to have it a whole lot easier than extroverts because an
Mhm.
extrovert, they need to be associated with this group, with that group, with this group. But if you're an introvert, you don't need to be
Mhm.
associated with nobody. You just got to be in your own world and doing
Mhm.
your own thing. And
Right.
you might know somebody just like you, and then you can form a group with just two
Mhm.
people, and then that two might turn into four. But that because you're an introvert, that four is great. Extroverts can't deal with that. They
Mhm.
can't deal with not being associated or being acknowledged by a lot of people, and it's unfortunate. It's almost like I did ambiverts. That's what they call me. It's like I can't identify with a lot of people, but not want to
Mhm.
be around a lot of people. You
Right.
know, and I think that's. I just wanted to her to understand that. You know that you don't need the acceptance of a lot of people
Right.
to thrive in this world. You can just be with a small group of people, and that's good, and that's it, and that's all.
Right.
That's what I. It's not about trying to amass the greatest amount of friends. That's not what you're in school for. That's not a. It's not a school for you to obtain friendships. It's like because
Right.
friendship is really intimate. You can know
Mhm.
people, be associates
Right.
with people, but you don't need to be
Right.
friends with everybody, spreading information out. So
Mhm.
yeah, I made her understand that you're doing the right thing now. There's no point in trying to associate with everybody because
Right.
what's the point? You know,
Mhm.
it's
Got it.
life a lot
Gotcha.
easier just being by yourself and with a small handful, 10 people that you can hold on to. If that, it's a
Right.
small amount of people. But yeah,
Mhm.
that was my advice to my child or my children who are all
Right.
over 18.
All right. So, in closing, first things first, I want to say congratulations to the class of 2026. Congratulations. You guys did it. You wonderful. Of
Congratulations.
course, yes, those that unfortunately did not make it to see the graduation of 2026, we say, our condolences to them and to their families. But graduates, right? Listen to Auntie for a second. Listen to Auntie Mimosa for a second. You are not just walking into something new. You're walking away from something meaningful, and both deserve your attention. Okay? Don't rush past the goodbye just to prove you're ready for what's next. Like take a breath, take a moment, right? Take the moment in. Be present. Celebrate. Reflect. Release. And then move forward with intention, right? It is you have a whole world ahead of you. Get out there, see it, explore, move with intention in the direction you wish to go in. Before you know it, these 4 years, 2 years, how many other years it takes you to go to the next level or to complete your education or to complete a project or whatever it is you're doing, it's going to go by very quickly. And in the beginning, it seems like, oh, I just started and I'm looking at the calendar and I've only been in school for a month. Or I'm working for this project a month, and then you look up, you're finished. Okay, so be in the moment, reflect and release. Many people have no idea. Yes, we are in May, right? We are in May. We are in the second quarter of the year. Those of you that are in business, you all understand what that means. Those of you who are not in business, or you just moving, oh my gosh, it's May. Yeah. Make your plan, write your plan, work your plan, execute it. Okay? Because life's, and you want to say that you gave it your all and gave it your best. And that's all that anybody ever asks, is for you to give your very best every day. Show up the best version of yourself every day. Show up the best version of yourself. Do not hold on to, do your best to release and to release yesterday, release the last hour, the last 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? just do your best. Show up, be your best. Wake up. I'm going to be my best self.
Yeah, because you're going to have to repeat that last part.
Wake up. Every day you wake up. Be your best. Be the best version.
Right at the end.
Be the best version of yourself. Try not to hold on to yesterday. Okay? Again, celebrate, reflect, release, and then move forward with intention. And I say it again. Write your plan, execute your plan, work your plan. And with that, if today's episode resonated with you today, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to reach out and share your story, or let us know how grief has shaped your journey, right? And if you know someone who might benefit or need this conversation, please share this episode with them. You can reach us on Instagram at Queen of Life Empowerment or SBSH Grief Podcast, Facebook at Sometimes We're Bougie, Sometimes We Hood, on TikTok, Sometimes Bougie, Sometimes Hood, on YouTube, Sometimes We're Bougie, Sometimes We Hood. Of course, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Thank you. We love you all for your support. And then if you even want to email us, Sometimes Bougie, and that's BOUJEE, sometimes hood at gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. Get your feedback. Tell us how we doing. And with that, this has been Sometimes We Bougie. Cousin Kareem. And we're here. We're here. This is where we keep it real about healing, growth, and everything in between. I'm your girl, Auntie Mimosa, and I'll see you next time. Take care of yourselves and each other.
This is Cousin Kareem.
And remember, we're on every Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mwah. Much love to you all. Have a good one. It's a podcast dedicated to exploring the complex emotions of loss, the road to healing, and the strength found in remembrance.